Hola, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Throne, your quick guide to the South American rosters for the 2018-2019 DPC season. So today's team that we're going to be discussing, I'm not 100% sure if they're actually going to be sticking around as a team or if it's going to be more of just kind of different stacks playing underneath this team name. But today's team that we're going to be talking about is G-Pride or Gorillaz-Pride. So this is a team that you'll see quite a bit of as they play through open qualifiers and generally make it into main quals. It tends to be mostly Peruvian players, but we do have a little bit of a variation here coming out for this particular iteration. So the typical thing about G Pride is that they tend to change roster a lot. Last season, I was casting and they would show up during open quals, but it would always be like someone different added to the roster, or they'd have their name completely different from what I was recognizing, and I wasn't 100% sure. So this is one of the harder teams to actually kind of just figure out. So we'll talk about the roster that we have right now, though, that's playing the Kuala Lumpur qualifiers. So in the first and second positions here, we've got Chucky, Nell, and Renzo. I don't know anything about these players. I spent like a year in the South American scene last year, and I don't remember really running into them. I might have seen Chucky or Renzo once or twice in like a different stack, but as far as I know, they don't have any previous notable team experience. All I was able to dig up, because I did try asking around, I asked that on Twitter too, is that they're both like ranked players. So they're both very, very good, but they just don't have any other history beyond that. So it'll be pretty exciting to watch these guys, see what they can do. Obviously, if they were good enough to, get picked up for G Pride here, then they must be pretty good. But we'll move on now on to Greedy. Greedy is the offlaner for Gorillaz-Pride. Greedy has had some experience throughout teams. He's actually been on quite a few teams, actually, come to think of it. The most recent actually being Mad Kings, and before that, Lucchini. I remember I was casting in chat one day, and someone was like, "Oh, look, it's Greedy," kind of the misfit child of South America, which was kind of an awkward way to put it, but he has been on quite a few teams. He does play in a lot of different stacks, so he is going to be playing the offlane here for Gorillaz-Pride. In the fourth position here, we've got Sladine. So Sladine actually was very, very much tied to Mad Kings. He was their captain for quite a while, if I recall. I believe he was also their drafter. But one of the few Ecuadorian players that you'll find in the Dota 2 scene. He's just spent a lot of time, again, mostly with Mad Kings, playing with that stack. Mad Kings used to do fairly well in a lot of these qualifiers. I think at one point, for Birmingham, they made it pretty far. I think they might have knocked out Thunder Predator. I could be wrong, but I remember watching them and I was just like, wow, I wasn't expecting them to really start showing up like that. Unfortunately, the Mad Kings roster is, of course, dead. So Sladine now is on Gorillaz-Pride. I'm not sure if he's actually doing their drafting as well. But Mad Kings actually used to be one of my favorite Peruvian teams, so I was really sad to see it die off. But looking forward to seeing what Sladine can do here. And then last but not least, we have Mazoku. Mazoku has actually, another, kind of like Greedy, he's been on a ton of teams. Lots of them. In fact, some of the most notable teams that he was on Elite Wolves, which was pretty popular for a while. White Dragons, which was like the DC South American team that they made for like a very short period of time. Sacred for a little bit, and obviously now has landed on G Pride. I don't have a lot of information about Mazoku. I know I've seen him on several teams. I don't even remember if he was always a position 5 or if he was a 4 for a little bit as well. But just seems to have landed on Gorillaz-Pride, so that's great. He's found himself yet another team, and hopefully this is going to be one that, goes pretty far for them. But I'm sorry, guys, not a lot of information about the Gorillaz-Pride boys. I did try digging around a little bit. A lot of these names, like Greedy, Sladine, Mazoku, they look very, very familiar to me because I've seen them in quite a few different qualifiers, but I haven't seen them, really aside from that. So they have this, they joined up on the Gorillaz-Pride. We'll see what they can do with this roster. And again, I'm not even sure if they're going to keep this roster. They might actually trade out some players and just keep playing through open quals with different people. So we'll see. But thank you guys so much for watching this episode. It concludes the Gorillaz-Pride segment. Again, sorry it's a little bit shorter than the others. I did try to dig around, but I just couldn't find that much information. But you know what? That's kind of exciting, right? Because that means that we will be the first people to really start noticing these players. So who knows what'll end up happening. Thank you guys, though, again so much for watching. This concludes my my mini-series here for the Throne. I hope you enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed making these videos for you. And hopefully it got you really excited about the South American Dota scene. But otherwise, that's it from me. So, your queen is out. I'll see you around.